In this video, we'll be implementing the Angular Material Progress Spinner component in our application. And by the end of the video, we'll have a spinner in the center of our main content section right here. To learn more on how we can implement the spinner into our project, let's check out the documentation. And then if you scroll down till you see the Progress Spinner, this is the one you're interested in. Select this one. And what we'll be implementing is something like this. Now there's different modes you can set to these spinners. For example, if you go to the example, they have a great example for this. So here we have it set to a determinate mode. And then here you could have full control of the spinner. Or you could have a indeterminate mode, which shows a continuous animation. Great for loading states when you don't know how long something will take to load. In this video, I will show you an example of both. And if we scroll down here, here is a simple example here. I'll open up the code. And here's the element we want to use. But like usual, we need to bring in the module first. Like we've done many times before, I'll copy this. And let's add this to our TypeScript file. In the top of our page's TypeScript file, we'll bring in the spinner from the Angular Material Progress Spinner component. And then I'll bring in the module inside of our imports, inside the component. And that's the only changes we need to make in here for now. Moving on to the HTML, I'll add in the mat spinner right above the mat toolbar. And if you're using the indeterminate mode, this will work fine. This will give you that animation look. However, if you're using the determinate mode, you'll want to use the mat progress spinner like so. Set the mode to determinate. Then here I'm setting the value static, and I'm setting it to 50%, but you could bind to it like so by entering the value within a bracket, then setting a variable from within your TypeScript and adding it here. And that's how you could control it dynamically. I'll undo that change. We'll comment this out shortly, this line here. But before we do that, let's view it in the browser just to see if it's working. We have a working spinner. We have the indeterminate one at the top, the animation one, and then the bottom one we set at 50%, the determinate one. We'll comment out this second one. We don't need that, and we'll leave in the animation one. That's the one we want. And we want the animation, the indeterminate spinner, to cover our main content. Be like right in the center of our content. Also, we want to dim out our content as well. Let's apply some styles to our spinner. Back in the HTML, let's comment out the mat progress spinner. We're not going to need the determinate mode, so I'll comment this out. And we'll leave it in there. I'll push that up to the repo so people can reference it. And we're just interested in the mat spinner, but I want to wrap this within a div. Then we could target that div from within the style sheet. So I'll add a class to this. I'll call it like spinner overlay. That'd be good. And then here I'll pull this out, the mat spinner, and add it within the div. That's the only changes we need to make in the HTML. Now let's target this spinner overlay. I'll copy this. Then we'll open up our Sass file. And towards the bottom, I'll add in our new class. Then I'll add in a pre-made snippet I already have made. So I'm setting that div to a position of fixed, off the top 0, off the left 0 of the main content section. And then it's going to take up the full width, the full height. Also, I want that spinner to be in the center, vertically and horizontally. And what's nice about this background color, I'm getting our background color from our system variables. So this will change if the user changes their theme color. Also, setting the opacity to everything, the spinner also, to 0.6. That's going to give it a dimming effect look. Let's see how it looks now. Now we have a spinner that is centered and we have a overlay. The overlay updates depending on what theme color you pick. If you prefer more of a black background color, you could update the overlay or the spinner overlay class to use a different system variable. Like for example, if you use this black, that would look pretty good too. This system variable. Now let's add a condition to our template, the HTML, to turn off the spinner temporarily. In later videos, we will be adding a toggle option within the settings panel that will turn off and on the spinner. Let's jump back into our HTML. Right above our div, the spinner overlay, we'll add in a condition. And inside the condition, I'm setting it to false. So in other words, this will never show this. And this is temporary. And let's cut this out of here. Add that in here. And our spinner should always be off. Let's double check that. And now our spinner is off again. Before we implement the toggle option for our spinner inside of our settings panel, let's set up one more thing, and that be our progress bar that will go across the bottom of our header here. We'll set that up first in the next video.